Hey, welcome back, YouTube. Mr. Controversy, and this is Coffee Shop Chatter. So, you know, all right, today I'm kind of go over two different aspects as far as things that's coming down. One is Trump's tax cut is about to expire, and then you have uh, Joe Biden implementing a 45% capital gains, and that's also a tax, a new tax that he's adding on. So if you're someone who, if you do stocks, like I invest in stocks, cryptocurrency, so for either way, both. I mean, it doesn't matter. You have your short term and your long term gains. So that 45% is what's going to affect those. So a lot of people think it's like, oh, well, good. That's just going to affect the rich. No, not really. You have, your upper middle class, and then you have your middle class folks. I mean, I know some folks that's not even in the middle class, and some of them, they're friends of mine, and they invest in stocks. And it's just stocks that I buy already, and they'll just ask me, just my opinion on stuff, or it's like, hey, what is it that you're investing in? I would tell them what stocks. Hey, these are the stocks I have, or like I always tell them, only invest what you can afford to lose. I do a lot of ETFs because I like dividends, and I just like to roll my dividends back in to buy me, additional stocks. So, so that's pretty much the two things that's going to get covered. So I'm gonna just let these clips roll through. I may stop it somewhere in the somewhere, just to give my quick spill on something. But other than that, I'm gonna just let them keep rolling.
So this week I spoke to voters in swing states of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. And one issue that kept coming up was this one. Who thinks the number one issue is the economy? Raise your hand.
I would say inflation.
Definitely the economy.
Everything's just too much expense, too much to go eat.
Every time you go to buy food, bread, eggs, milk, everything has gone up so high.
Gas prices are ridiculous.
Who do you think is best fit to handle the economy?
Donald Trump. Everybody was doing well financially, and now it is turned upside down.
But things could get a lot worse in 2025 because President Trump's tax cuts are set to expire, and President Biden won't do anything to stop it, meaning tax hikes are on the horizon for many Americans. Here to break it all down is Charles Payne, host of Making Money on Fox Business, 2 p.m. Eastern Time every single day. So let's look at the big picture right here.
Sure.
A lot of criticism of Donald Trump's America tax cuts, but you have a famous saying.
Well, here's the thing. President Biden can't have it both ways. You can't tell the world we're the best economy ever without acknowledging it's happening under Donald Trump's taxes. Would you assume that the same vibrancy that he says America has would exist if we shot taxes higher? Lawrence, let me just read one thing real quick. The Hill, this is from The Hill, 2021. Not really big Donald Trump fans, right? Our IRS data proves Trump tax cuts benefited middle working class Americans most. So if you unwind that, guess who it's going to hurt the most?
So when we look at the numbers, this is just single people, no kids. If you're making $30,000 a year, you're going to be paying $253. Right. If you're making $52,000 a year, $1,400. No kids again, $75,000 a year. You're going to be paying additional $1,700.
Right. And this is after coming through dealing with the worst inflation in 4 decades, okay? This is on top of that. This is adding insult to injury. And this, whatever happened to the promise? Remember, no one under 400,000, which is such a nebulous number to begin with, right? You pulled that out of a hat. And by the way, since you started talking about it 6 or 7 years ago, inflation really means that's a number that's really 200,000 6 or 7 years ago. The bottom line is that this is an administration, there's a philosophy out there that believes, for some reason, that allowing us to keep more of our hard-earned money is giving us something. You're not giving me anything by lowering my taxes. I've earned that money already. It's not your money, government. You just can't stop spending because you want this giant, huge government that dictates who wins, who loses. And the only way you can fuel that is by confiscating money from people who worked hard to earn
And
it.
Charles, they're not just going to stop at single people.
Right.
If you got kids, you're a married couple. Let's say you're bringing $85,000. You're going to be paying an additional $1,600. You got 2 kids. The dream used to be 6 figures.
Right.
They can bring in $165,000. As a married couple, you're going to pay an additional $2,400. If you got 3 kids, you're pulling it. You're both making 6 figures. $200K, $7,400.
This is the one I feel sorry for people. You done worked your ass off.
You're going to get crushed.
Listen, no, you worked your ass off. You're about 42 years old, right? Now you're making it. Your kids know you're making it. They don't care what the taxes are. They want this, they want that, they want this, they want to go to this school. So you've got Uncle Sam taking it on this part. You got your kids who want it. You've got your relatives who say, I heard you were doing really well, and you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. This 200,000 area, that's where the pain really begins. You wonder why people making 200,000 are miserable? They don't have any money.
Charles, folks have an opportunity to change this in the next
They do.
election.
So when you're talking about the so I'm single. I meet none of those, nothing on the first chart. I'm gonna be straight blunt and honest. I'm actually at the 200. So I make north of 200 a year, 200,000 a year. I claim 0 exemptions because I'm like, hey, tax me up front. I want you to take everything now, and I'll file. Even doing that, and this is before the tax cut even take place, so I already could imagine. I had to pay the IRS almost $7,000. So April 15th, I paid them probably like 68, almost $7,000. And that's being single. So it's like if you're single, the more money you make, it's like, it's getting taken. Not to mention you're already paying taxes, from on this. And then when you go to the store or something, you're paying taxes. You get gas, you're getting taxes. So you're being taxed on money that's already been taxed already.
They really do. By the way, this is just allowing these tax cuts to go away. Biden's going to hit us with some taxes, particularly on capital gains. Listen, if you live in California, people are going to pay 59% of their income, total income on taxes. New Jersey, where I live, 55%. Crypto fans, be careful. The anonymity of crypto will go away under President Biden's new tax plan. This is just the tip of the iceberg, folks. And by the way, it's so ironic. Somehow they think that your money belongs to them. It does not.
But wait! There's more! Hang on to your seat, baby, because this one's a screamer!
For more on this, let's bring in Americans for Tax Reform President Grover Norquist. Grover Norquist, Joe Biden tweeted this, of course he didn't write it, that Trump tax cut is going to expire. If I'm reelected, it's going to stay expired. And he has always said it's benefited the wealthy and biggest corporations. And that is just pig potatoes. 2/3 of American households, thereabouts, got a tax cut, and the biggest beneficiaries were middle-class Americans, full stop.
Look, Trump's tax cut, the Republican tax cut, reduced marginal tax rates for everybody who pays income taxes. Everyone who pays income taxes saw their tax rates go down. You got the child tax credit. And what Biden said all during the campaign when he ran was he was going to get rid of all of the Trump tax cuts. And that includes taking our corporate income tax, which used to be higher than China. And thanks to Trump and the Republicans, it went down to below China's. He wants to take it either all the way to 35%, which is what he said during the campaign, he's going to abolish the tax cut, or up to 28%, higher than China's, higher than the European average. He wants your company that you work for to be punished more than the communist Chinese tax their own businesses, so we won't be competitive. Biden wants you to have to compete on lower wages against China, not lower taxes.
Yeah, let's dig into that a little bit, because when he talks about the corporations, what he's trying to say is, middle-class America, I'm not going after you, I'm going after the big rich companies. And of course, what that means, Grover, is that when you go after the company, you're actually going after middle-class Americans, whether you're a consumer, whether you're a worker, or whether you're somebody who wants to retire. Isn't that right?
So I guarantee there's a bunch of people sitting around was like, I don't care. They're going after the rich people. They're the ones with the money. So when they go and they're going to bring it up, when you go after stores, all these businesses, anyone who has a business mind and understand how the economy works, when you talk about economics, if you own a business, Walmart, and now you got to pay higher taxes, how you make that money back? All your goods, you increase the prices of your goods to make that offset. So it's like, hey, now you're good because you've put it back on the people who spend more money, but then the people that's out there, your citizens, they're not getting pay raises. Look at all these companies. They are to the point where they are either replacing you via robot. I mean, look at the fast food restaurants. People scream to them they want $15, $20 an hour to do burgers and whatever, which reality, those businesses were initially set up for your school kids and your college kids because they transitioned through so you didn't have to give them a raise. But they want $15. So what they started doing, hey, no problem. We're just going to integrate kiosks. So now we got a kiosk. They're already doing experiments at some place where the robots are actually doing the food. They're dropping the fries. They're doing everything. So now you don't have to have nobody take no money. You just have to have someone until they find a way for the robots to do that as well. And I'm pretty sure it won't be that hard to do. To put make your burger, make your put your fries in a little packet, in a little paper thing, wherever they put it in the bag, and you get your food. So you're being replaced by robots because they don't want to pay you. Or some of them is like, we're just shut down, depending on the type of business, and we're just going to make everything online. So we don't have to have people in the stores. So like I say, think about, a lot of this stuff before you start jumping, with having that mindset of, I don't care, it doesn't affect me, it affects them, because yes, it will affect you. Once some price people crying about now about milk and how much milk costs and eggs, I think eggs was like $7-8 for a freaking a dozen. And if you ain't got no chickens, guess what? You're gonna be paying that $7-8. The costs always go back to the consumers. And it's all due to supply and demand. They supplying it because you demand it, and then they can set the price what they want because they know that you want to buy it.
Look, absolutely. And here's the good news for Trump and the Republicans and the American economy. We did focus groups at Americans for Tax Reform. Do people understand who pays the corporate income tax? And the answer is average Americans know that when you tax a grocery store, the prices of the things at the grocery store goes up. The wages of the people who work at the grocery store can't go up because the government took that money. And if you have a 401k or an IRA, if you own shares of stock and Biden's taxes are so bad that stock prices fall, your life savings decline. So he hits people who are saving for the future, people who are consumers during the day, and people who work. Those are middle-class people. 70% or more of the corporate income tax directly hits consumers, people. There is no Mr. General Motors writing checks. They're only consumers and workers.
I am going to move on, but if you look at Biden's economic agenda, it has been hurt the many to enrich and bail out the few, period. Whether it's the vast amount of money, like hundreds of billions of dollars that have gone to his corporate cronies, to subsidies, the student loan bailouts when almost 90% of Americans don't have any student loan debt. And now this idea about I'm going to hike corporate taxes and I'm going to get rid of the Trump tax cuts. All of this only benefits the few and it damages and destroys the livelihoods of so many. But I want to move on to this. The president's 2025 budget proposal plans to raise the capital gains tax rate to 44.6%. Big sigh from Grover. That's the highest rate since its creation in 1922. And according to the Treasury Department, that's because, quote, preferential tax rates also disproportionately benefit white taxpayers who receive the overwhelming majority of the benefits of the reduced rates.
So under Biden's proposed plan, the combined federal-state capital gains tax would exceed 50% in a whole bunch of states, with California reaching nearly 60. Grover, that sounds to me like a terrible penalty on investment, which is a good thing, isn't it?
If you and your spouse buy a small business, start a small business, and work at it for 20, 30, 40 years, and then you sell that business, you get a capital gain, okay? And that's your life savings. That's your work. For all those 40 years, you've been paying personal income taxes and sales taxes and the FICA taxes for your workers and property taxes and state income taxes. Tax, 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 tax. Now you're going to sell the business and earn some money. And Biden says, by the way, between the federal government and your state government, they're going to take half of your life work. And he thinks that's funny.
They think they know better. They think these lifelong bureaucrats and these lawmakers who've never worked a real job think they make better decisions about your life, with your money, about your health, every way, shape, and form than you do.
Yeah.
Real quick, Grover, a few seconds.
That is their view. That higher capital gains tax, China's at 20%. He wants America at 44.6%. Who's going to invest in America when Biden's stealing half of what you're making and China goes 20%?
Amen.
Exactly.
Grover Norquist, thank you so much, sir. Great to see you.
So there you have it. If you're an investor, and even it doesn't matter. Like I said, it's capital gains. That means when you sell something, like your home, you sell a house, when you report that, or a business, you pay a percentage. I sold a house and land in South Carolina. I had to report, and I had to pay, a small percentage, but good thing it wasn't when this came along, because it would be much higher. So people try to figure, also taxes are going to go up, and it's because of a lot of things that they're doing. So right now, they said, the House approved was $95 billion in foreign aid to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Why are we sending them $95 billion? We could take probably $1 billion and use it right here in the U.S. Like all these, rundown, I would say like apartments that they not run down, but they can be fixed. You literally can fix those up, create like a small office, move, some homeless folks in, or try to get some the homeless shelter. Create some type of program where you putting them back into the workforce. You set up some type of clothing closet, whatever, where they can get clothes. You have them sit down, they find jobs, because even around here, I see a lot of places where people can work. They have a lot of help on it, and people just aren't applying for the jobs. So you literally can put them back into the workforce, let them stay there for a while, have it, like I said, you spent $95 billion, you can use that to run those facilities, to hire the people who pay them based off of that, and get those people, have them like, hey, once they start working, you give them a year. That way that give them time to save up their money. You have them go through some type of financial training, whatever it is, to get them back out on their own, to where they can go rent an apartment, or you create other apartments somewhere, where they can transition from that area, what I would consider like a holding area. Stage one, stage two is you move into these apartments, but now you're paying rent. But that makes too much sense. Then you have the total loan forgiveness that was approved by Biden Harris administration. So was $143.6 billion for 3.96 million Americans. So I paid back all my own college loans. There was no forgiveness. I did this years ago. I paid it. I took it out. I was responsible for them. I paid it. Didn't have to go to no debt collectors and nothing. As soon as I graduated from college, I went in the military, paying on my loans, and did my 28 and a half years. Just retired. But that's things that we can do. The money we send into these other countries, we can use here. And I'm not understanding, well, I know why it's being done, but that's something that can happen. Instead of us helping everyone else, how about helping ourselves? Because no one's sending us money. We ain't getting no aid for our homeless people when people starving. So why we don't use the funds that we have to address those issues? Well, that's all I got. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, speak your piece, keep it clean, because I guess some people didn't like Stephen A. My little Stephen A. one I did, and all I can say is YouTube did not allow the comment to get posted. So if you think you're gonna come up disrespectful because you don't know how to articulate your thoughts without being in your feelings, YouTube is gonna block you. I put keywords in there to stop it. Like I say, you can call it censorship or whatever you want to call it. But it just shows that you don't know how to communicate effectively. So you probably were saying some things that you probably wouldn't say to some people in their face. Like I always tell people, the keyboard warriors. That's probably what you try to do. But that's all I got. Speak your piece, keep it clean.